What are the key traits of a life-changing book? Now, here's the thing. What works for me will not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. That's just a simple fact of life. When you're thinking about a book that is life-changing, there are some things that you need to understand. One, if you're at a point where you feel that you do not have something that is fulfilling, you pick up that book, you read it, you align yourself with it. No matter what that book is, it could be a child's book, it could be a textbook, it could be a magazine. Words can find you in the most interesting way. You really need to understand is not every book is life-changing. You are not going to like all the books that you've read. There are some books that I've read, as I was reading it, I found myself asking, this is not all that interesting, but there was always something that I could relate to. That's one of the key things I think any life-changing book is gonna have. It's going to have to come down to something the reader can relate to. Now, with this, you have to understand who you are as a reader. If you are someone seeking information, if you pick up a book about that information that you're seeking, you're going to consider it life-changing. It gave you the information that you desired at that time. That's not necessarily a life-changing book. It only worked for you as a reader. If I'm answering the question of what are the key traits of a life-changing book, I'm going to give you 3 categories. One, it has to have spent some time in existence. If I just wrote a book today, I cannot consider it to be life-changing if only 10 people like it, 10 people say that it changed their life. Tomorrow, it could be 20 people that don't like it. It's not necessarily life-changing to the masses. In order for a book to get to that level, you have to ask yourself, how long has it existed? Then you can calculate how many lives can it change. I'll give you some examples. Think and Grow Rich, that is a book. It's been tested against time. Multiple people have identified it as life-changing. The 40 Laws of Power, which is a very popular book. It's been around for a decent amount of time. It hasn't been around long enough for folks to ask it. Is it a trend or is it life-changing? Now, in my honest opinion, I do think that it's life-changing. If I had to bet, I would bet that in the long term, anyone that reads that book, whether it's 50 years from now, 100 years from now, is going to walk away with a better understanding of either themselves or other people. Those books have been around for a length of time. One, it has to stand a test of time. Two, what it comes down to is how useful it is to the reader. There are many books where if you read it, you feel that the author wrote this book for themselves. I'm reading it and I'm only walking away with a better understanding of the author. I'm not walking away a better understanding of myself. If I'm reading a book and I do not feel that I better understand me as a person, there's no way for it to change my life. There are books that if you read it, the author is just saying how great they are. They're not telling you the steps to be great. Many books are like that. Many books say, I've done this, I've accomplished this, I've had this tough time in life. They do not tell you step by step how you can apply them. Therefore, it's never going to be a book that's going to change your life. If you're seeking a life-changing book, this is where number 1 starts to pay an effect. You think about books like the Bible, it's the test of time. Folks have clearly identified that as a book that is life-changing, much to the point where there is a practice whether you follow the religion or not. It's a life-changing book. That's with most books built upon religion. Why do they work? They stand against time. They talk to you as the reader. Those 2 qualities can go hand in hand. That's why you can identify the Bible, the Quran, or any other religious book out there as a life-changing book. The third thing that makes a book life-changing, truly, its ability to be accessed. It may be a powerful book. No one can access it. No one can read it, refer it, say, here's a copy. Doesn't matter how great the book is. It needs to be a large amount of quantity that allows people to get access to it. When you look at books that also stood across time, one of the reasons why they stood across time is 1, they're not easily destroyed. You are not about to burn all of Robert Greene's books in a day. If I only write 1 book, I can easily identify this book, get rid of it. The amount of quality that the book has is important, the amount of quantity as well. There are many things that could be lost, even though we have technology now that will help cushion that. I write a great book, it's the 1 copy, never gets published. People have to have access to a book for it to be life-changing. It needs to be able to touch that much amount of people's lives. The 3 qualities. 1, it needs to be tested against time. It needs to exist for at least 50 years. 2, something where you as a reader are walking away with something. 3, there needs to be enough of them. It can be shared to the masses. That is the 3 traits that I can identify as a life-changing book.